Well, as we have mentioned this morning, Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor is expected back at State Police headquarters this morning to continue a disciplinary hearing that could lead to his termination.
Proctor was suspended in July for conduct revealed during the Karen Reed trial. This morning, we've been bringing you Ted Daniels' one-on-one interview with Karen Reed. She was more than willing to talk about Proctor and others.
What troubles me is how evil people are.
We covered a lot of ground with Karen Reed, including those who want her in prison. The Norfolk DA, state police working for the DA, and specifically Trooper Michael Proctor. The detective zeroed in on Reed within hours of John O'Keefe's death. Proctor has testified that's where the evidence, including Reed's cracked taillight, took him.
Yeah, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though.
During Reed's first trial, Proctor's personal feelings for Reed were exposed in his personal text messages.
What was it like to be there in court and listen to all those texts?
Proctor was just letting the public know what I've known about Michael Proctor, who he really is. Nothing Michael Proctor texted and admitted out loud in court about me would ever offend me.
Your figures of speech include the following. She's a bitch.
Objection.
Is that right?
Yes.
You spent hours having him read those out loud. I'm sure that was done by design.
It was. Everything that we did in that cross-examination of Michael Proctor was done by design.
There was an effort to indict Reed on new witness intimidation charges last March. It failed. Reed says even people around her were under scrutiny.
Our drivers have been approached by the state police, had very close friends, had their cell phone records subpoenaed for an indictment that never happened.
Have you ever been followed?
I don't know. My eyes are akimbo all the time. I look at law enforcement differently, more warily.
How do you know you're being tracked?
I know from affidavits from the state police at the Norfolk DA's office. They knew what flight I was on, they knew when I landed, they knew when I came back, and it's disturbing. It's invasive, and it's desperate.
All right, Ted Daniel joining us now for his fascinating interview. Ted, there, she just called the state police desperate. Others may use that word to apply to her, and seeing she didn't get an acquittal the first time around. But why do you think it is she agreed to do this interview?
She comes across as very smart and analytical, that every move that they're making, she's a part of, and it's calculated. I think she says to me she has nothing to hide and wants to get her message out. I would expect that, they went over the pros and the cons of this. With a trial fast approaching, and in the end, they thought it was something that they wanted to do. It's not the first time that she's gone on in a segment like this. She did a couple national interviews, and I think that this was something that, I reached out to her team and heard back within a couple of days.
I actually have two questions for you. What is she like off camera too? Same way?
Yeah, pretty much the same. You get the feeling, she's always on the phone or she's always making plans. She's, when we met her, the day that we met her, she was going to meet with her lawyer, Alan Jackson, she said, because she had a private investigator hunting down a new lead, and they were going to analyze and go over what information that was provided to them. So, yeah, she's very cordial, very nice person, but when you look at all in this totality here, these are some really serious charges against her, and she's got a tough road. Yeah.
So you reached out to the DA's office as well.
Yeah, we wanted to give equal time to the DA's side of this. So it's the new prosecutor. Adam Lally did the first trial, and now Hank Brennan was appointed a special prosecutor. He's long known defense lawyer. I used to speak
the Whitey Bulger case.
Yeah, and I used to speak to Hank about other stories. So we made a request. We said, hey, we'd like to profile Hank and give him sort of an on-camera interview, and they declined that request. And I get it. There are some stipulations that the DA and the prosecutor has to follow in terms of out-of-court discussion. I did say, hey, I realize in my email, I said, I realize there may be some things that have to be left off the table. We were fine with that with them, but unfortunately it didn't happen.
You had talked about this in the piece that aired last night, and she has talked to, as you mentioned, to you and to other outlets. The question is, will she take the stand now in the second trial? And she mentioned, well, that'll be a game time decision. What's your gut telling you on that?
I think she probably won't. I mean, as rare as it is for her to do all these interviews with us, I think would be even more rare for her to take the stand. But one of the things that the new special prosecutor is trying to do is take all the statements that she's made and find contradictions. Before this story even aired, we got a court order at this station saying the DA's office wants all the raw interview. They want everything, and my notes. So the DA's office has been doing that to everyone that she's spoken with, because they want to say, hey, there's this inconsistency there, or she said this during this interview, she said something different during another interview. So it was surprising, though, that we got it 14 hours after the promo aired, and the story hadn't even gone on TV yet.
Yeah, it's, you know, expected almost, too, but it's something that so many eyes are going to be watching. I mean, you did an incredible piece on that story as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see what happens.
And we'll be